Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are featuring a bit of an icon from Hamilton. Now, we all know the Hamilton Murph. It's been around for a few years now, but for 2024 they have released two slight new variations, and one is the new bracelet fitted to the black model here, and we have a new white model which kind of freshens up the dial somewhat. Not that it really needed it, but it's always nice to have the option. We like that. Now, as we all know, this watch came to notoriety in the film Interstellar, and that's also where it got its nickname from, the Murph. And it's been a real fan favourite, being that it's relatively affordable, being it's a sub, well, what's it, about a sub 900, sub £1,000 model, you know, from a good brand like Hamilton with a Swiss made movement. And so it's, yeah, people love it. But before I get too far into this review, I've got to say a massive thank you to the team over at First Class Watches of Kenilworth. They have been absolute stars to the channel. They always give me interesting watches to review, and overall just really nice guys. Now, if you're in the Midlands area, I'd strongly recommend going into their shop. If you're a bit further afield, well, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description below and at the bottom of the page. All I ask is you do mention the channel if you do contact them. Now, sizes. Well, actually, before I mention the sizes, I will point out, I'll give you a kind of option to this watch at a later stage in the video, so stay tuned for that. Sizes are a fraction, I know they call it 38, but I was reading 37.8 millimeters for this watch in case size, the thickness 11.3 millimeters, and the lug to lug is coming in at 44.5. The bracelet on this is 20 millimeters. Now, the dial. Let's stick with the black first. The black is the tried and trusted. It's been around for a few years now, and it's what everyone knows this watch for. It's got this real nice kind of almost matte black finish to it, but then you've got this kind of, dare we say it, faux patina to the lume on this watch on both the dial and the cathedral style hands. The lume itself is pretty decent, but I must say the lume on the white model comes across much sharper and cleaner. I don't know why, it just really looks kind of good on the white model. Now, as you can see, we've got these white framed hands, the second hand reaching all the way out to this actual minute track round there. It's got a good look to it. I like the fact we have got just simply minimal text. So many brands could learn from this. We've got the Hamilton Khaki Automatic, Swiss made right down at the bottom. All you need. You don't need to talk about water resistance and things like that. Keep it simple, and they have on this one. It looks really good. Now, the white dial is very interesting in that you've got an actual textured feel to it, you know, a textured dial here, and it gives it a little bit more depth rather than a plain white kind of finish to it. You get that certain amount of depth, and you see tiny little shadows on the dial, which is really good. Also, you get where they put the minute track, the hour marks on it, it looks, because it's got obviously the lume on there and it's got this nice black kind of definition to the number, it looks almost raised up, which is nice. My only complaint with this would be, you notice how the second hand just kind of disappears into the dial. I think personally, and you know, you may disagree with this, if you had black framed hands, like they've framed the numbers black, and a black second hand, I think that would look really, really sharp and make it a real winner, I think, anyway. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with that, or if you think I'm talking a load of rubbish. So anyway, I'd be interested to know what you feel about this one. Now, as we come past this, we have the sapphire crystal. Now, it's a double domed, it's got a lovely kind of fit into the bezel there, but my kind of complaint with this is that it appears not to have any AR coating on it, any anti-reflective coating. When you're outside trying to take shots of this, it picks up all the reflections there are, you know. It's not the best. Let me know if there is AR on here, but I don't believe there is by looking at it. I think they could have improved this watch no end by just simply putting some, or a better AR if there already is some there. Now, as we come past that, we have this nice polished fixed bezel on there. It looks great. Now, the sides, we have a nice kind of satinized brush finish on there. There's no polishing on this, and I like it for it. This is how it should be as a tall watch. I like this case design, the way it kind of, the lugs come down. It makes it for a nice, comfortable fit on the wrist. Now, as we come around to this side, we do have a polished crown. Now, it goes straight into hand wind. There is no screw down crown, but you still get water resistance with this. You're talking 100 meters. Now, let's pull this out. Is there a ghost date? Let's see. What I mean by that is, is there a date function at all as we pull it out? That's gone straight into what you call it. Ooh, it almost feels like there is, like there. It's gone. I think there is actually a ghost date to that. So yeah, what is meant by that is that they use the movement with the actual date function, but they simply obviously delete it because you can't see it. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way. But there, yeah, I think there's a ghost date, and then it comes out handset. But there you go. It's neither here nor there. It doesn't make any difference to the actual functionality of the watch at all. Now, as we come round the back, we are greeted with a nice display case back on here. I personally love a display case back because you get to see the movement in there. And sometimes, if there is a problem with the watch, you can actually diagnose it just by simply looking through. Now, the movement back there is there. I think it's called the Hamilton H10. I did put these on the time grapher. I think the black one was coming in at +4, +5 seconds a day, and the white model was coming in at +1. But that came with a caveat. Simply, when I first put it on the time grapher, I think it was coming in at +12. I demagnetized it, and then it run far better. I believe this model does have the metal escapement in there rather than the plastic variation. Reason being is that it gave me a true time trace without any interference or scatter. So that's the reason why I believe so. If you're into your watches, you have a collection, I would strongly recommend getting a demagnetizer, as they really do work. So anyway, the movement features 80 hours of power reserve. They do that by slowing down the beat rate. So the second hand is a little bit more jittery than some models out there, but it does keep good time as we've seen. It is a 23 joule movement and overall pretty solid. You know, you're not going to have any problems. Now, let's talk about this variation we have here, which is the bracelet. The bracelet feels pretty good, to be fair. It's a pin system. It looks to be all polished, but when you look closely, on the edges here, let's zoom into that. On the edges, we do have this polish work here, and I must say it gives it a little bit more, makes it look a bit more premium versus a full brushed bracelet. So overall, that looks great. The clasp, I have left the plastic on there. Is a twin pusher affair. It's got a polished beveled edge on there, and you have 3 levels of micro adjustment. And to be fair, it's a nice size, not too big. It really does work nicely on there. Let me put this on my wrist. Oh, actually, before I say that, let me show you the leather one first. Let's zoom out here. The leather one has got this kind of alligator style leather. It looks apart. You have the signed buckle up the top there. We have a fixed keeper and a floating keeper, and on the back it is actually marked up Hamilton. Now, one thing I would say, it's quite stiff. It is very stiff. Don't get me wrong, this would break in, but you know, I just feel it would take a bit of time to break in. It's not my favorite strap at all, but the beauty of straps are you can swap them out with no problem at all on there. So, you know, that's one thing to consider. This watch does look great on other straps. As you can see, you haven't got a quick release on this one, but actually on the bracelet variation, you do have a quick release, which enables you to drop it out and swap over bracelets, or straps, I should say. Now let's zoom out and we'll show it on my wrist. But oh, actually, before I do, I spoke about a variation. If you wanted this watch, but you found it was a little bit too expensive for your tastes, even though you like the design, you could always go for the Hamilton Khaki quartz model. Now, as you can see, similar design, but to keep the price down, they've gone with a quartz movement, so it's battery powered, and they're brushed, bead blasted the whole case on this. So it does keep the prices down, but you still get that kind of similar kind of feel to the dial with a faux patina on there. So, you know, and this model here, I believe the retail is, what's it say, 375, but you can normally get 10% if you shop online at First Class Watches for this. So the price of this will come down to a very respectable price if you fancy the kind of designer watch but can't, you know, justify spending out the extra money for the mechanical movement. It does come on a NATO strap, so, you know, always worth actually considering. Now, quick wrist check. Believe it or not, I'm wearing something completely, utterly mad. I am going to do a review of this, but you'll, yeah, love it or hate it. It's quite interesting. I was really quite surprised by it. And Bob has simply got a stunner on. He's got the new Venezia Nico. I can never pronounce them. I actually got to meet the guys the other day at World Watch Time at London, and oh, absolute superstars. I think this watch is beautiful, absolutely stunning. Now, my wrist size is 7¼ inches, so that equates to around about 18.5 centimeters, give or take. So I'll put this on. Now, as you can see, the clasp is huge. Now, the actual watch on my wrist, I think, looks absolutely perfect. It's a real, yeah, it works so well on my wrist size, or would be, you know, would look great either on a smaller one. Now, I'll put this on, but I'm not going to do the leather strap up because I don't want to break it in. Obviously, it's not my watch, but you get an idea how that looks. I personally think, I just think if they'd done the hands black, it would have looked amazing, but they haven't. But either way, it's still a great looking watch. It's just a shame you cannot get the white model actually with the bracelet. It only seems to be available on the black model. Bit of a shame, but there you go. So anyway, guys, I'm going to leave you to it for that. Any questions in the comments below. I'll always try and get back to you, but it is getting a bit more awkward. So anyway, all the best, and most importantly, you guys stay safe out there. Take care. Bye.